Hey, I just thought I'd throw something quick because it's been a while since I did a video. I've been literally just buried, swamped with stuff. Um, so I thought I'd do almost a little bit of a devlog on just something I'm working on. Uh, One of the things I'm working on many things. So I started building a dungeon crawler that'll be a roguelike using leaderboards, turn-based with dice, integrating with cards. And I was actually planning on doing a bit of a devlog a couple weeks ago. I started this just over a month ago, actually, and it stumped me. It's complex. It is insanely complex. Out of anything I have ever done, it is the only thing where I knew what I wanted to do, and it just stumped me. Like, last couple of weeks I was like, holy crap, what the hell? So I thought I'd show you a bit of that. So in the last couple days I've started making some leadway on my combat system. That it is a long ways from being anywhere yet. With that said, I use a book asset in this, just as an effect, I guess you could say, and it's a really sweet asset. It's called Endless Books, and I was so impressed with it that I made custom actions for it. I'm going to remake some of those actions, but I talked with the dev that created it, and he was generous enough to give me 3 CD key, or not CD keys, 3 keys for the Unity Asset Store to give out. So not in this video, but in my upcoming videos that I'll release, I'll probably do some, maybe just like some small tutorials, and I'll put and I'll hand out keys. Like, I'll do a tutorial on the Playmaker actions for the book, and you can see it. I could actually probably even open up the demo scene somewhere, and anyways, and I'll do a couple videos, and I don't know if I'll hide the keys inside a video, and then if you guys are watching, you're like, oh, that's a weird number, that's weird, oh, it must be a key for the book, or I'll just go through the comments and I'll be like, hey, this person commented and you know, they are interested in the book, so I'll figure something out. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Well, of course, you know, I've changed some of the materials into my stuff. I actually did that art for my thing. Might be better to do this one, just to kind of give you an idea. Now, like, and the book is like, you can do a lot to it. You can use render textures and everything on them, so these pages you can film with whatever you want. They're bones and they're animated, right? Like, they're pretty sweet. This one's only got the 8 pages. You don't have to click and drag to move them. You could, like in mine, the way I got mine set up, I just click and it flips for you. But you can have animated stuff and all sorts of things on there, and it's just a really nice effect. So I might show you that real quick. Well, I'll show you some of the stuff I'm working on, some of the issues I've been facing. So a lot of the beginning stuff is still really heavily under construction. I use Replica AI, Replica Studios. For voice AI, the voice might be loud. So if it's loud, just give it a minute and I'll turn it down. Music by a fellow named Paul Messier, kind enough to do some custom music for me. Not this very starting tile. He has done a song there, I just haven't implemented it. But this is the book, so I've got various things. This particular book, I don't have much in it actually, but if I, oh, it's being a pain in the ass. course it's not working, because why would it? Anyways, yeah, like I've been doing a lot of refactoring code, so that's. But those are my books, and that's kind of where I'm gonna have some stuff that, like, it'll have more or less ideas, logic of the game, more of the mechanics of the game, I guess, and about the game, story and stuff. In that particular book, the Dungeon Monster Manual will just have images and data about monsters. Obviously, this is heavily influenced by Dungeons and Dragons. The Player's Handbook has various things, information on the characters and stuff. But anyways, if I go to a new character, you can hear the voice.
Game? Well then, it begins.
Right, so that's the voice.
See who you are. Choose a name and your profile.
And that's AI, right? And like I said, I'm still working on a lot of the art.
What class are you going to be?
And stuff.
Choose a specialized line. You can also access this page anytime.
The voice and everything forever. I'm just gonna turn the volume down so it doesn't bury me. This page is still completely under massive work. But I have a thing here, and it's, you can roll your stats, and it does some stuff. There's a bunch of voice here too. But we roll stats. You notice the dice are blue. I've been trying to really separate player actions to AI actions, so it's going to be very heavily themed with D&D, right? Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and all that stuff. So I'm really trying to go with the D&D feel to it, but there's going to be cards as well. So right now, the combat system, I had to really dumb it down in order to just to get it going. It was so complex because the combat system, not like a normal combat system where you go, you know, player's turn, enemy's turn, player's turn, enemy turn. There's a lot of interactions based on the cards you play, setting yourself up on your next attacks or hindering the other enemy. You know, you might have cards that will, you know, proxy if the enemy does a critical hit or if they go into a defensive stance. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth on the cards and a lot of tactical stuff. I won't bother showing you the shop because that's all still so heavily under construction. The UI still under heavily construction. I will show you a bit of the music though, because like I said, this is actually all custom music. Imagine you can hear that, right? So it's got a retro dark dungeoning theme to it, and there's combat music and stuff. I might get into that later on. The dungeon, actually, I made my own dungeon creator, and then kind of oohed and awed about it, and I decided to go with Dungeon Architect because it's just it works, it's easy, it's a good system. So it's maze-like, and there's a bunch of things that happen in here. There's events. There's actually some teleports. If you're playing the right class and have skills, you can actually move around the map. The enemies and stuff. So right now the combat's just about fully automated because I don't have the card system in yet. Still developing that. But as you see, like, there's a bit of a timer. And you got to roll. So normally you would have cards, and you have to say play cards to modify your attacks and stuff. So there's a descriptive thing happening here as well that's going through, and that's going to get a big overhaul as well on what's being said in here. Like a lot of it's going to be based on what type of attacks. There's going to be a list of things it could say. It'll randomly choose things that go with various actions, so it'll actually almost build a bit of a story along here as it's playing. But as you can tell, like the combat system itself, for anyone who's played Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, or grew up on it like I did, it's not the fastest combat system. Like, it's not like you're going to go into combat and, you know, a couple swings and bam, the fight's over. In some cases, you will. I mean, if you get lucky rolls, you get the right skills happening, then yeah, things will happen pretty quickly. But the combat's meant to be kind of a slower paced, intense combat. Obviously dice based, as you can see on the screen. But with that said, there's also going to be cards. So with the entire card system, collectible system, there will be a lot there. I'm working on effects and various things. Like I said, the combat system itself, though, for what it is, it literally was an insanely difficult thing. It's just it's so much to it. It's so complex. It's not just right now. It looks like it's mainly, you know, player enemy back and forth. Like, he just critical hit me and literally destroyed me, and I got an issue with my color system there. I gotta fix that. But you can see, like, in the combat, like, it also has these little, like, the green. There's also red that'll pop up too, based on your stats or on the enemy stats as well, if they have bonuses and or negatives to various things. I wanted to show that. There's more indications up here I gotta show for when we're attacking and defending. You've probably noticed the black dice represent the AI, where the blue dice represent the player. You might also notice the black dice shoot from up here down, where the player's dice shoot from here up. But yeah, I mean, it's just so complex. It's been just over a month, and I've redone code on various things a few times actually, and I've got a bit of a mix of code and Playmaker. I've actually started to lean more towards regular code for a lot of this stuff. Okay, I'm just going to temporarily cheat right now. Go to my player, give me a bunch of health. Let's give me some good damage. And let's just wrap. Oh crap, we don't want to go that high. And yeah, like, I don't know, it's been a hell of a battle, but I ended up opting to go for more of a I don't use coroutines in it per se. Mainly I actually use async functions, because they can return special types and stuff. So they're just really handy. Oh, I'm gonna just obliterate him with a natural 20 here. Good luck defending that. I rammed my bonus up to +10. Oh, I did the wrong color dice on that. Nice little death effect and stuff. Right now, the experience technically is there. It's not showing up. That's still under construction. The other thing this game is because it's going to be roguelike, as D&D as it is. You go through the dungeon. You can also leave the dungeon anytime and go back to town. Shop system, money system, and all that. There will be actually a very tiny crafting system. It's not going to be focused on crafting at all, but it will be there. There'll be a campsite in the dungeon you can go to, and you can use once per that little run. It's not like you can just go there and hang out. But there are secrets and various things in the dungeon. You can also find and deal with various random events throughout the dungeon. But every time you leave the dungeon and re-enter the dungeon, it changes. I have a small issue with my AI and traveling, and I think I know what it is. I just haven't had the time to fix it. There is it uses a combination of nav mesh but I also built a grid system. If I turn my grid system on, that's the debugging of it. And if I go to the player, I can see where I am, which is why it's blue. It's just a debugging thing I turned on for it. But if I can't move yet because we're technically in combat, even though the enemy's underneath me, like that's not supposed to happen. Like I said, I think it's just a slight issue in the math there. You'll also notice, like right now, if I don't do my turn and the timer runs out, it really doesn't matter right now. It will matter. I might give a little bit of a negative. The attack will still happen, but if you don't play cards, then you're just going to do a basic attack. But you'll see as he moves, and this was actually key for the AI for navigation. As he moves, it turns blue, and then the player moves to it. And as I move around, the AI will look as they're moving around, because I've decoupled them from the NavMesh agent. So the NavMesh agent sits on them and hangs out with them and tries to find out which direction they want to go. And I take that direction and I normalize it and put it into just cardinal directions, like north, east, south, west kind of idea. And they move accordingly to that in just those directions. And I don't move them with the AI NavMesh agent methods. I literally just interpolate their position to the next position. But they also check the next position to see if the player is in that position, and if so, then they won't move, so the player won't overlap them. Which is where I think my issue is right now. I think I have, a number wrong. So if I'm going like more or less north and east, it seems to be bang on perfect. But if I'm going south or west, it just seems to fail. So I probably just, a bracket facing the wrong way kind of idea, because I just haven't had time to look at it. But anyways, I wanted to just do a little video. I don't want to go too far into detail, just to show you a little bit of what I'm working on and stuff. And like I said, this has been, out of anything I have ever worked on so far, this combat system, for what I'm trying to do with it, is the most complex thing that I have ever worked on. Anyways, it is mind-numbing. Like I said, because there's going to be all sorts of cards on your turn. The enemy's going to have cards too, and it'll go back and forth. And there's the different classes. There's magic. Yeah, you can set yourself up. You can do combination attacks. So it's going to be extremely tactical, and it's hardcore. Like a traditional roguelite. I can go back to town there. If you die, you're dead. There's I'll have it so if you leave the game, I can save the character, so when you come back, we can reload the character and off you go. But there is technically no saving and loading of the character. So you can't save the character, run through the dungeon, and then like, oh, I died, I'll just reload. That can't happen. It's more or less, if you're playing, if you die, like you're toast, it saves that you're toast. There is no coming back. It's you making a new character, which is why it runs a leaderboard system and stuff. Whereas the loading is literally just, like you're playing or going through at dinner time or something like that, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to stop now. Far or something, right? So you'll be able to quit and leave, and it'll hold your spot. When you come back, you can continue on. But that'll be it for the saving system. So anyways, that is a little bit of what I'm working on and some of the issues that I've been dealing with. That turn-based combat. So like I said, there is some Playmaker definitely in there as well. And of course the endless book. So keep an eye out. Hit the subscribe button. because in future videos I'll be giving away 3 keys for that book, and by all means take a look on it in the asset store. The dev is very friendly. I mean, he's generous enough to give me 3 to give away. Completely awesome of him. And it's just an awesome asset. Like, I'm blown away on how good it is. It's easy to use. At least I found it easy to use. But I'll make custom actions for it for Playmaker. Yeah, see, like, you can do it by buttons, or you can do the drag thing as well. And like I said, those things, there could be literally anything on the pages. You can make them interactable. You can have menus. Like, I've got some that I was working on where I'm building, like the monster manual. In the very start, it literally has like a index, appendix, whatever. So you can click on it and it goes to the page, and so forth. But anyways, that is what I'm doing, what I'm working on, and I'll see you guys later.